Cool. Hello everyone, and welcome to the Fulham Centric Football Podcast. I'm your host, Ash Woolford. Joining me this week for our Spurs review is the whole gang. AJ, how you doing, mate?
All good, all good.
All good. And now you're out of the fishbowl. It's even better. Drew, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing fine, mate. Just getting over the trauma of seeing close up of AJ's head.
And Mozza, mate, how you doing?
Ecstatic that I could see my own reflection in AJ's glasses right there.
Obviously, we're here to talk about the Spurs game on Sunday. It's a good review for a semi-decent game. Before we do that, we'll just do a quick in the news for what's going on around the club. Obviously, we had all of the breakdown from Andreas Pereira over the weekend. We've done a separate video on that. That's on YouTube. Fully suggest everyone goes and watches it if you want to hear our thoughts on that, because we're not going to talk about it during this episode because we don't want to. FA Cup draw has been made this evening just before we came on air. Fulham been drawn against Watford at home in the next round of the FA Cup. Whether that's a good draw or not, I don't know. It's a winnable game. It's one of those potential banana skins because they're not that bad, but we'll see what comes of that. Obviously, over the weekend, the women's team had another great win, 8-1 away win in the league, and the under 23s had a great 4-0 win against Notts County in the FA Youth Cup. So well done to them. Overall, Sunday was a decent set of results for us as a football club, and we should be very happy for that. Let's get into talking about the game on Sunday for the men's team. A decent 1-1 draw away at White Hart Lane. I thought we put a lot of demons to bed that were come to light from the Wolves fixture the week beforehand. We were all rightly concerned going into this game after the result that we had last week against Wolves, what we might see in this game. We'll start with the question we always start with, and AJ, I'll ask you as I always do. The squad that was announced on Sunday, barring the one admission that we've already spoken about, what were your feelings with it?
Obviously Diop because of the situation with Anderson. Outside of that, pretty standard. Obviously, Lukic back in, meaning he's back to good fitness, was good to see. Yeah, happy with the squad selection ultimately.
Yeah, I think we go into that game. You know, I don't think I think all the changes were expected, weren't they? You know, with Anderson obviously being out injured, and we still don't fully know how long he's going to be out for. It's another one of those things that's always a joy to being a Fulham fan. We never really get open communication about injuries, do we? So it is what it is with that. Going into the game on Sunday, however, we did our preview last week and we were all semi-negative. We weren't really expecting much after the Wolves game the week before. Drew, how pleased were you with what you saw the performance? You know, compared to the Wolves game, a lot of players were saying that don't take us for last week's result. You know, we are better than we showed last week.
Where to begin on that one? After the Wolves game, we talked about the hangover that we seemed to suffer with after the international break. We couldn't have been worse. Wolves took 4 shots and scored 4 goals, and we were all, as you said, doom and gloom. The fact that Wolves got absolutely battered at home by Bournemouth at the weekend shows how far off of it we were. And thank God Spurs are Spurs. Because I think I texted the group when they released their team. I wasn't as downbeat as I had been. Now, I know that we have to steer clear of Pereira because we ranted on him about another show. But our regular viewers will know that I have been clamouring for Lukic, Berge, Iwobi central midfield for some time. I think Iwobi is arguably our most influential player. Lukic has done his best to make people forget about Pereira, and Berge just gets better and better every time he plays. So I was quite pleased with the lineup and the performance. Well, I mean, if you look at expected XG over what's actually achieved, Fulham rank about 4th. If we could have actually take the chances we create, we would be a top 6 team. But I was really pleased with the reaction. Really pleased with the reaction. And I know some of the changes AJ's already discussed. Some of the changes were forced, but I was really pleased with that midfield. Really was, because I thought it's arguably our strongest. But yeah, I mean, full credit to them. Full credit to the players. Full credit to them. I'm not going to fault any of them, because that Wolves game was absolutely horrific. There's no other way to put it. But they came out and they looked like the home team. They look like the home team.
Yeah, I think we can look at it and we can be quite proud of the performance that we put in. There are still that same old. We say it every week. It's getting boring to say it as a Fulham fan, that if we could just take our chances, we win more football games. The first half on Saturday, you rightly just said it. We looked like the home team. We took the game to Spurs. We looked really assured. I don't think there's many teams that go to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium and look as comfortable as we did in that first half. We just had that really big issue of just not being able to put the ball in the net, and as frustrating as that could be, we hit the woodwork. Some really good approach play yet again. I thought Reece Nelson in that first half was superb. The Berger Lukic sort of pivot in midfield worked excellently. I thought they were superb. I thought other than the goal he almost gave away after about 45 seconds with that wayward pass from Bassi, I thought Bassi was brilliant at covering spaces and covering his man. I thought Issa Diop doesn't get loads of game time in his minutes, can be quite sporadic, was excellent. And Kenny Tete is always good. I thought there was this Kenny Tete is, and you can't really say anything other than he just did it himself, and he was outstanding again. And I thought they were really good. Mozza, the story of the first half is obviously we just couldn't take our chances. We created loads. We were really, really good. We're not going to keep going on about how frustrating it is that we can't score, we can't take up opportunities. But let's give a little bit of love to the build-up play and the approach play that we're currently having. It looked good, right? It looked nice and free-flowing. We looked like we were in control for an awful lot of that first half. How nice is it to watch Fulham play really good, pleasing on the eye football, as well as getting some form of results out of games at the moment?
In the preview that we did before this game, I said I want us to see the squad playing a more sort of attacking style, and I think we did that. I can't really say much more on top of what you folks have just mentioned about we look like the home side. Yes, it is frustrating that we didn't get more from it. Before that game, if you'd said you come away from there with a point, I'll take it all day long. I'll still take it all day long. But I suppose it was just refreshing off the back of that horrific Wolves performance and thinking that Spurs would be just all over us. I don't know. Like, I'm proud. I'm proud of that. And in terms of us missing opportunities and not getting a goal out of the chances that we had, and you won't hear me say this often, where I give kudos to a player from the opposing team, but I think Fraser Forster nearly swore then. Sorry, I thought he had a great game. Like, I thought he made some great saves, and he was Spurs man of the match. Yeah, we've seen other games before that we've played where our shots haven't been on target. Yeah, I'm happy with the result.
Obviously, we look at going into the second half, AJ. We spoke about this in our WhatsApp group this morning about the approach play that led up to Tottenham's goal. In the sense of we may be overcommitted going forward, and then the players who are meant to be covering in defence maybe not covering as well as they should have been. I think it was a bit of a lapse moment for Reece Nelson, and in terms of covering the spot that he was meant to be covering in. the goal Tottenham scored wasn't a difficult finish for them to score. They didn't really have to work hard for it either, which is another one that we often frustratingly moan about. You know, what for the goal that they scored, you know, what's your analysis of it? You know, what are we doing wrong there? You know, what can we do better? What should they be doing better?
Well, first point is the delivery at the other end of the pitch from Robinson. Credit to him, he did run 60 odd yards to get into that position, but his delivery should have been to the far post. Why he's trying to cut it across the box on the floor in that situation, I'm not entirely sure, but I'll just put it down to adrenaline and move on from that. That's as much as I can really fault him. From there, we get very quickly counter-attacked, and we see Son drop down into the build-up and give it to ultimately Werner, who delivers a very lovely ball to the back post to an open man that was left because Reiss Nelson decided to ball watch a little bit. And we've seen this exact situation where the back post was left open. Granted, at the time, we put it down to a late substitution and us going to a back five and that adjusting the way that we set up at the back and that causing confusion at the back post. But I said at that time, the Reiss Nelson also didn't track his runner then, and he didn't track his runner during the Spurs game either. He just sort of watched it happen when Robinson, as fast as he is, probably isn't getting back 70 yards quicker than Son and Werner can combine to deliver a dangerous ball into the box. It's one of those.
You're talking about the Everton game, aren't you? In terms of the other time we went 5 to the back and Reiss Nelson. That's what you're talking about.
I believe so. Yeah, when Ashley Young was left at the back post.
Yeah. I thought that's what you're talking about. Yeah.
If you actually put those two goals side by side, I think Reiss Nelson's in the exact same position on the pitch, watching the delivery come in to that far post. And what we've got to be careful of is if we continue to play Reiss Nelson with Robinson, which I'm not against, to be frank, but if we continue to play them, these opportunities will arise in games, and that will be spotted by good coaches and good managers to exploit, and they will start committing players into that area that will be vacant. So we either need to get Robinson to not overcommit, or we need to get Reiss Nelson to commit defensively. As I said in our WhatsApp group earlier, once is a mistake, twice is a habit. We need to not make a habit of this and hopefully iron it out now before it becomes something that we see over and over again. And we're somewhat used to being exploited on that left-hand side of the fence. We've seen it a lot over the years for one reason or another, whether it be that we've got overcommitted fullbacks or Tim Ream was having a bad spell, or we didn't even have Tim Ream. We've always had issues with that left side of centre-back. Batty, we don't have any issues with him. He's stupendous. What we have issues with is the space behind him. He can't be at two places at once. So, yeah, hopefully we can fix that going forward and it doesn't become a huge issue for us, but no team can be perfect. If we were, we wouldn't be 10th, we'd be first. So,
yeah, I think that's great. And I think that's great analysis of the goal. And I think you put it absolutely superbly. I've watched the goal back 3 or 4 times, and you know, I'm not going to fault anyone in the sense of scoring it. You know, Tottenham did what Tottenham do. They break fast and they score goals like that all the time. It's how they scored 4 against City the week beforehand, and they tend to win most of their games breaking fast. You know, it's what they do. But I agree, Reiss Nelson should have been trapping his man a bit better than he was. But I'm not even going to begrudge Reiss Nelson that, because I thought he was outstanding for the rest of the game. Everything else he did in the game, he was superb. It was just that one moment, that lapse in concentration that led to them scoring, and that is what it is. As a team, though, I thought we reacted to going a goal behind really well. And one of the things that I'm loving most about watching this Fulham team at the moment, especially away from home, is that our heads don't drop when we go a goal down away from home. in years gone by, especially for Marco Silva, we went 1-0 down away from home. It was almost guaranteed we lost the game. Like, we didn't ever react to going 1-0 down well, but I thought we reacted extremely well on Sunday, sorry. I know the goal was a bit of a sucker punch in the sense that Tottenham hadn't really offered loads, but I thought we reacted well. Drew, talking about the reaction to going the goal behind and going with that, we always credit Marco Silva in the way that he does things. He made a couple of substitutions quite quickly after they scored that, bringing TC on, especially to bring a bit more fluidity in midfield. Whether or not that I can be cynical and say that's because Lukic should have received a second yellow card or not, I'm not here to begrudge a referee not yellow carding somebody, but it is what it is. How do you feel about the way that we seem to be reacting at the moment about going a goal down, especially away from home in games, that it's not phasing us like it used to?
Generally, I mean, the spirit is good amongst the team. They've got their way of playing. I mean, even on Sunday, I mean, we didn't go there to defend. Like I said, Silva's very much wedded to his principles and the way he plays. Yes, he adjusted, but I mean, the Lukic not second yellow card, that definitely spurred him into action, and I completely endorse his move. But no, the substitutions were positive. They injected in energy, and they injected guile into the proceedings. Obviously, Silva looks like a genius because he kept 11 men on the field, and Cairney scored an absolute cracker with his left foot. And it's quite interesting after the game that Silva was talking about Cairney and how much he'll be missed. And his biggest regret with Cairney is he never got him sooner, i.e. a younger version of him, because he still is incredibly influential. But I mean, even with the goal, it never really threw us out of our stride. It wasn't. I didn't look at it and sit there and think Tottenham are now going to go on and get 2, 3, or 4. Didn't think that at all. I mean, as AJ's already covered, the goal came on a fast break. It was very much against the run of play, and it didn't throw us off our stride. And I think that, I mean, okay, Maddison had that free kick that went under the wall and hit the post, but really, I would have, if I'd had to have picked a winner, even after we went 1-0 down, I wouldn't have been confident of picking Spurs, because I still sensed there was something in the game for us. Absolutely. And it may have been a bit of a blessing that Lukic nearly got a second yellow, because it may have forced Silva's hand sooner, because obviously the introduction of Cairney proved critical. But no, it was, as Mozza has said, we can take great pride from that. I mean, it's a testament to the management. It's a testament to the players. It was really, it was a united front all the way through. Fair play to him.
I'm very much in the build Tom Cairney statue now while he's still playing. Although he won't be in a position of tackling, will it? Let's be honest.
No.
Tom Cairney doing all he can to prove he's very much Fulham through and through now. And after scoring an absolute worldie to equalise us, gets sent off 5 minutes later for, I don't think it was a malicious tackle. It's a red card in my book. I know there's a lot of Fulham people out there that are maybe arguing it isn't.
It was a high tackle from behind. You're never going to get away with it, Ash.
It's a red card. Intent, no. Malicious, no. Red card, yes. It's one of those things, isn't it? And Tom Cairney's not the type of player to, if it was Stefan Johansson 6 years ago, all of us would be like, yeah, he meant that, but not TC. AJ, TC's just been sent off. You look at, we got what, 20 minutes to see out of the game. We still somehow look really comfortable, though. I think there's a reason why most of the highlight packages of this game, anyone who's watched them, sort of end after Tom Cairney gets sent off. Not not loads happens after. We sort of see out the game quite comfortably. You know, I don't think there was ever really a moment where I was really fearing Spurs scoring that second goal. You know, again, we go a man down away from home, and we don't capitulate. It is really great to see that. I think Drew said it, that there's a togetherness within the squad, and you can really feel it, especially in moments like that when, you know, we're a bit backs behind the wall, or, you know, something goes against us. You know, what are your feelings generally, of the last sort of 20 minutes of the game, seeing it out and looking relatively comfortable away at Tottenham, which isn't an easy stadium for us in the history goes by. How do you feel about it?
Just before I do respond to your question, I've just got to go very quickly back to the Lukic situation, because if I don't address it, we will have Spurs fans ripping us to shreds because they are crying tears about it. In my opinion, it should have been a second yellow, but we move on. Anyway, yes, with Cairney being sent off, he hates losing the ball. We've had him have conversations about that in the past, how he hasn't been bodied off the ball in 6 years or something like that. He can remember the last player that bodied him off the ball, etc. So when he did lose the ball from a push in the back and then he went to chase after it, inevitable that was going to be a red card after it was reviewed. How did I feel after that? Somewhat comfortable, actually, more so because of the reaction of the players during Cairney sending off. Cairney actually, before he left the pitch, rallied the players. The players then rallied with Marco, and they're all sitting there cheering and pumping each other up. And we see the return of Ryan Sessegnon immediately after that, getting some more Premier League minutes. And it's a shame he wasn't a little bit sharper, because I think the next best opportunity of the game fell to us when Wilson runs 50 yards and for the first time ever doesn't take the opportunity to cut back onto his left foot, plays the ball across the box with his right foot, and Ryan Sessegnon, for the first time ever I've seen him, wasn't there for the loose ball. So yeah, unfortunate. But yeah, I was somewhat comfortable even after the red card. We shored up our defence. We were relatively solid. And Diop was having a bit of a masterclass all game, as was Bassi. I think I mentioned it during the game, potentially not to you guys, but maybe to someone I was watching it with, that Bassi was all over the place. There was points where he was at right back. At one point, he was at left wing. I don't know how he got there or why he was up there or why he was up there on his own, but Bassi was all over the shop. And we were just really, really good defensively. And we didn't look like we were going to concede when we went down to 10 men, which is very positive of us. And it's good that we could go away from a ground that we don't usually do well at with a point.
Yeah, I can't agree. I think one of the standout moments of that last 20 minutes for me, which shows an awful lot about why I love Marco Silva as much as I do. And I don't know if any of you guys saw it, but there's this really telling moment. I think it's in like the 77th minute, and the ball goes out for a throw in for us, and Marco Silva's there geeing up all the players and trying to get players to attack, not even defend, but to attack what we had. And standing next to him is Ange Postecoglou, pretty much just staring at the ground, you know, realizing that he can't just say the word mate and get his team to score another goal. It's one of those things, isn't it, that, you know, I love Marco Silva. He's done an outstanding job so far, and he, you know, I think he is proving that, you know, yes, we have occasionally we'll have results like we did last week against Wolves, but on the whole, the performances we're getting out of this squad are absolutely outstanding. You know, I don't know where we're going to end up this season in terms of Europe or not, but I'm going to enjoy the ride because I think it's going to be absolutely superb, and it's down to him through that. Let's finish these episodes how we always finish these episodes, guys. Honourable mentions and man of the matches, because I think that, you know, there's a few for the game on Sunday. Mozza, I'm going to start with you, mate. Give us a couple of honourable mentions and your man of the match for the Spurs game on the weekend.
it's taken everything within me right now not to do a Postecoglou impression. After you said that, noticed every post-match interview doesn't look at the camera, just looks like that. Goes, well, could ask more. The players are all low energy. That was rubbish. Anyway, can I shock you? I like Tom Cairney. Don't know if I'm going to go as far as saying I want to build a statue, but man of the match for me would be Alex Iwobi, and honourable mention for Diop.
Yeah, it's a fair shout, really. Drew, what about yourself, mate? Honourable mentions and man of the match.
I know that AJ's extolled the virtues of Bassi, and I'm a huge Bassi fan, but I think Diop coming in and the fact that we didn't miss Anderson is a huge testament to the big man. He can at times look a bit suspect on the ground. Sometimes you think he's got the turning circle of a destroyer. But I thought the fact that we looked so comfortable, and I appreciate Spurs were wank, but the fact that we were so comfortable and we didn't miss Anderson says a lot to him. So I'm going to give it to Diop. Honourable mention, I would say Lukic for committing 2 bookable offences but only getting 1 yellow card and really sticking it to Spurs.
I think wank's the technical term, isn't it?
It is.
Of what they were, yeah. It's not an opinion, it's just what you were. AJ, what about yourself, mate? Honourable mentions and man of the match?
My honourable mention is actually Lukic for a very similar reason, because in that moment I wasn't sure if that was Lukic or Johansson. Like, genuinely, I thought I was looking at a game from a few years ago, because that tackle was prime Johansson, and how the bloody hell he got away with that just because Spurs had a good advantage position. It was one of those, the ref had to either blow then or not blow. He gave the advantage, and as soon as the advantage was given, there was no way he could have brought it back for a yellow card, because that would have been almost unheard of, because because of the latter red card that would have ensued. So as soon as he gave the advantage, I bet the referee sat there double taking in his mind, going, "That was Lukic again. Whoops." But my man of the match, I have to go with the consensus, I think, and probably give it to Diop. He was the nominated player of the match based on people's votes, and it says something when an ex-Arsenal player doesn't win it. So, yeah, I'll give it to Diop.
I think we should all stop and appreciate that the words "I appreciate Tom Cairney" came out of Mozza's mouth. Can we just appreciate that for a second?
He didn't just say "I appreciate Tom Cairney." He said, "I like Tom Cairney."
Yeah, I like Tom Cairney. Yeah. It's just
there's a bit of a thing
for that reason.
where,
For that reason alone, make the statue 2 feet taller. Right, we'll go with that. Yeah, for me, honourable mention. Everyone. We absolutely lambasted the whole squad last week after that Wolves performance. If you're going to react to a bad result, you do it how we did on Sunday. Everyone who was part of the squad last week who played yesterday did really, really well, and there's not much fault in them other than Reece Nelson's one moment with the defender for the goal. He was outstanding. I thought Kenny Tete was back to his usual best. Robertson was again proving to everyone why he's probably one of the best left backs in the league, although his end product is Spursy. It is what it is for that. I just didn't want to say wank again, and I just did. So there you go. The centre backs were, outstanding. Bassi, everyone knows how much I love Bassi. He's an outstanding player. But for me, Issa Diop is by far the man of the match for Sunday. For a man who doesn't start regularly, he's going to be the third wheel effectively within that sort of defensive partnerships. He's not let us down so far this season at all. He started the season really well. The games he's had to come in for, he's been really, really good. And everyone knows that I've never kept it quiet. As much as I appreciate this, I'm always scared that he's got a mistake in him that will cost us in some way. But was really comfortable watching him play on Sunday. It's really comfortable watching him every time I've seen him play this season, and he fully deserves it. So for me, yeah, Issa Diop. So I think as a consensus, Issa Diop's our man in the match for Sunday. That is what that is, and we'll end the review of the game here. Thanks, guys, for joining me. Everyone who's watching, we will be doing a preview for the Brighton game, which is obviously on Thursday. We'll be getting that out on Thursday morning before the game, and then we will be doing a double header of recordings as a team on Friday as well to get a match preview for Arsenal out on Saturday with a review of the Brighton game as well out on Saturday morning. So enjoy, everyone who's going to the game on Thursday. Enjoy it. It shall be a good one. Brighton have started really, really well. Other than that, we'll end this video here. Thanks very much for joining me, guys. Please, everyone who is watching, like and subscribe and share it with your Fulham mates. Help us grow. You know, the numbers have been improving steadily over the last couple of weeks, and it's been really nice to see. And that's with your help, so we appreciate that. And if you are watching this, and you're one of the 50 or 60 people that seem to watch this religiously but aren't subscribed, please subscribe. It costs you nothing, but it means everything to us, and we do. It really does appreciate it. My ego needs that inflation, so I appreciate it. On that, we'll see you guys on Thursday for the Brighton preview. Come on, you Whites!